Rashee Rice, rumors shake Chiefs kingdom. Speculation is swirling around Kansas City that Rashee Rice may soon be parting ways with the Chiefs, and if that happens, the ripple effects could be massive. We're not just talking about losing a receiver. We're talking about potentially removing one of the few explosive weapons left in Patrick Mahomes' arsenal. Rice, who became a breakout star last season, added a level of dynamism to the offense that Kansas City desperately needed. His ability to separate, make defenders miss, and turn short throws into big plays made him a vital piece of the Chiefs' championship puzzle. And finally, no hookups or hopovers here, because in his big blonde hand, the Chiefs can make 3 of... Now imagine that puzzle without him. If the Chiefs don't bring in a legitimate, high-impact replacement, not just a body, but a real weapon, they're in trouble, serious trouble, because you can't ask Mahomes to carry the offense on pure brilliance alone forever. Even Superman needs a cape. And here's the kicker, no official word yet on who might replace Rice. No names, no rumors, just silence. And that silence is starting to get loud. Stay tuned. Because if Rashee Rice really does say goodbye to Kansas City, the entire identity of this offense may have to be rebuilt from scratch. And time is running out. The startling revelation about Patrick Mahomes that has Chiefs kingdom in turmoil. What you're about to uncover will redefine everything you thought you knew about QB1's destiny. This jaw-dropping revelation has ignited a firestorm across the NFL landscape. Stick around until the end for the seismic twist that has the football world buzzing. Smash that like button, drop a W if you're still riding with the Dynasty, or an L if your faith is fading. And make sure to subscribe for the boldest, most unfiltered Chiefs commentary anywhere. Because what's happening behind the scenes in Kansas City is nothing short of unprecedented. At the epicenter of this whirlwind, one name that commands attention in every NFL conversation, Patrick Mahomes. But this isn't just another offseason headline. It's a tectonic shift shaking the very foundation of Chiefs Kingdom. 5 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs shocked the sports world by awarding Mahomes a record-shattering $53 million 0-cents contract. It wasn't merely a transaction, it was a proclamation. A thunderous statement that echoed throughout the sports universe. That deal didn't just reset the quarterback market, it demolished it. It created a new echelon of expectation, one that would either catapult Mahomes into football immortality or crush him beneath the weight of impossible standards. But here's the twist no one anticipated. As Fox Sports recently celebrated the 5-year anniversary of that landmark agreement, they posed a question that has fractured the fan base and sparked a civil war in NFL discourse. How many rings will Mahomes truly win? What followed wasn't just a casual debate. It was a battle cry, a polarizing eruption that divided Chiefs loyalists, NFL analysts, and football traditionalists into opposing camps, each carrying a radically different vision for the franchise's future. Let's start with the true believers, the diehards who view Mahomes not just as a generational quarterback, but as a football messiah. These fans foresee him eclipsing even Tom Brady's legendary 7-ring legacy. One loyal supporter declared with bold conviction, he'll end up with 5 or 6, but don't be surprised if he matches Brady's 7. This isn't casual optimism, it's a testament of faith. Faith in a quarterback who's already shattered records, redefined creativity, and delivered 2 Super Bowl titles before turning 30. They point to his staggering resume. 245 touchdown passes, just 74 interceptions. A so-called down year that still saw 3,828 yards and 26 TDs. Moments of pure magic. No-look throws, miraculous comebacks, and clutch heroics that feel like rewrites of football physics. But then there's the opposing faction, the Skeptics. Not trolls or rival fan bases, but seasoned voices who see warning signs and believe the golden era is fading. These aren't hot takes. These are calculated assessments grounded in brutal NFL realities. The salary cap burden Mahomes' contract creates, restricting elite acquisitions, the aging of foundational stars like Travis Kelce, whose eventual departure could dismantle the offense's core identity, the rise of rivals, Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, building rosters designed specifically to dethrone Casey. One sharp critic put it plainly, he's peaked. He might win another title, but his prime? That window's closing. This isn't disrespect, it's an acknowledgement of the unforgiving mathematics of NFL longevity. Even the greats decline, worn down by time, injury, and relentless expectations. Brady was the exception, not the blueprint. But the conversation runs deeper still. It's not just about Mahomes, it's about the system around him. The Chiefs' front office is now facing an almost impossible task, maintaining a Super Bowl caliber roster with limited resources and aging stars. Every dollar counts, every roster move matters, and difficult decisions lie ahead. One fan's raw comment cut to the heart of the dilemma. He probably wins 5. But they need Kelce to retire, a brutal sentiment, but a brutally honest one, because the cold truth of dynasty building in today's NFL is this: even icons must sometimes step aside for the greater good, and Travis Kelce, as beloved and dominant as he is, represents the last thread tying this era of Chiefs football together. Travis Kelce's potential retirement could reshape the Chiefs dynasty forever. Kelce's retirement wouldn't just mark the end of an era, it would represent a strategic recalibration of the franchise's identity. It's not merely about losing a legendary tight end. It's about liberating cap space and compelling the Chiefs' offense to evolve beyond its current over-reliance on the Mahomes-Kelce axis. The financial ramifications of Mahomes' blockbuster contract extend far beyond accounting columns. When Kansas City wagered $53 million, 0 cents annually on their generational signal caller, they weren't just banking on his brilliance. They were betting that his transcendent talent could transcend the roster limitations that accompany a cap-crippling contract. And to be clear, in the short term, that gamble paid off gloriously. But the long-term repercussions? They're only beginning to materialize. Just look at the recent deal awarded to Brock Purdy by the 49ers. 5 years, $265 million, 0 cents. A nearly identical $53 million, 0 cents per year, yet structured to preserve the roster's competitive integrity. San Francisco retains its depth. Kansas City doesn't have that luxury. Every personnel move is filtered through the financial gravity well created by Mahomes' historic deal. To the skeptics, this is a mathematical impossibility. He won't win another ring, wrote one commenter with cold finality, not because Mahomes has regressed, but because team building at a championship level becomes exponentially harder when one superstar consumes such a vast portion of the salary ceiling. Still, for every cynic, there's a loyalist. A diehard who views Mahomes' contract not as a liability but as a launch pad. They argue that he's one of the rare few who can elevate ordinary talent to extraordinary levels, that even amid cap constraints, he has proven again and again that he thrives under pressure, defies limitations, and conjures magic when it matters most. One bold fan took the optimism to biblical levels. 10 rings. He's not just going to match Brady, he's going to surpass every legend in team sports history. That level of conviction demands several assumptions: that Mahomes sustains elite form deep into his late 30s, that the front office artfully navigates fiscal landmines, and that the ever-shifting landscape of the NFL doesn't veer into chaos over the next decade. But here's the real story beneath the surface. The true takeaway from this firestorm of debate: Chiefs Kingdom is divided, and that division is a direct reflection of a deeper truth, a rising anxiety about whether this dynasty can endure. When you win at the highest level, a different pressure takes root. Not just the expectation to win, but to repeat, to surpass, to sustain. Every coaching decision, every roster cut, every play call is now under the microscope. The coaching staff must continue innovating offensively within shrinking fiscal confines. The front office faces agonizing choices: which stars to extend, which legends to let go, and the players themselves must bear the burden of dynasty expectations while knowing that championship windows are fleeting, fragile, and closing faster than most realize. The Brady comparison serves both as inspiration and warning. Yes, 7 rings is the gold standard, a career of historic longevity and triumph. But even Brady required optimal rosters, organizational genius, and some fortunate timing across 2 franchises. His late career run with Tampa Bay proves both sides right. You can win into your 40s if you're great enough, but you must be surrounded by a championship infrastructure, or it doesn't matter. Y'all better strap in, because what I'm about to reveal is going to send shockwaves through the entire NFL universe. This ain't your run-of-the-mill locker room chatter. This is championship-tier drama that's got me fired up and locked in. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm dropping some cold, hard truth that every single Chiefs fan needs to hear. Drop a W in the comments if you still believe in the kingdom. Drop an L if you think the dynasty is slipping. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button while you're at it. Now listen closely, because what we've got brewing in the NFL right now has more plot twists than a primetime thriller. And I'm here to break it all down for you, step by jaw-dropping step. See, I've been around this league long enough to know when somebody's blowing smoke. And right now, Miami is lighting up the sky with delusional fireworks. There's a certain wide receiver down in South Beach who's been flapping his gums like he's already got next year's Lombardi trophy sitting on his nightstand. Now, don't get me wrong, confidence is essential in this league. You need swagger to survive. But there's a fine line between confidence and full-blown delusion. And after hearing what this dude had to say, I started wondering if too much Florida sun is frying some brain cells. Let me remind y'all who we're talking about. The Kansas City Chiefs. Not just any football team, the reigning titans of the NFL. A dynasty built on excellence. 3 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. Back-to-back titles. A blueprint for sustained dominance. This empire wasn't built on hype. It was forged through brilliant drafting, tactical free agency moves, and a championship culture that breeds winners. Since 2020, no team, let me repeat, no team has reached the mountaintop more consistently than Kansas City. While others flapped their jaws about greatness, the Chiefs were out there proving it week after week. Players have come and gone. Cap space has tightened. Critics have chirped. Yet through it all, Kansas City kept stacking wins and raising banners. That's the dividing line in this league, the difference between pretenders and certified contenders. But apparently, some folks got amnesia when it comes to recognizing greatness. Now, let's talk about this former Chiefs receiver, the one who used to catch passes from Patrick Mahomes and bask in the glow of championship culture. He knew what it felt like to be part of a machine that wins when the lights are brightest. And now, he's in Miami, chirping like the Dolphins are about to steamroll the AFC like it's 1972 all over again. Again, I respect belief. I respect grit. But belief without results? That's just noise. Let's not forget the Miami Dolphins haven't won a single playoff game since the year 2000. Let that marinate. That's before smartphones, before social media, before half the league was even born. While Kansas City's been hoarding Lombardi trophies like collector's items, Miami's been stockpiling heartbreaks and early off-season tee times. But none of that seems to matter when a podcast mic is hot and a platform's waiting. This guy boldly declared that the Dolphins are taking the AFC. Not contending, not making a run, taking it like the AFC is a clearance rack they can just scoop up at checkout. The nerve, the unfiltered audacity. You're telling me a franchise that hasn't sniffed playoff success in 2 decades is just going to waltz through a conference that includes juggernauts like Kansas City, Baltimore, and Cincinnati? Please. That's not confidence, that's a fantasy. But wait, it gets even wilder. This same wideout had the gall to say his quarterback is the best in the league. Let me say that again. The best in the entire NFL. Now, I've heard hot takes, but this one had me checking if I was watching a comedy sketch. We talking about the same QB who's never won a playoff game? The one with more concussion scares than playoff completions? The one quarterbacking a team that's made a habit of letting fans down when it counts? Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes, the generational talent, sits comfortably in Kansas City with 2 Super Bowl rings, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and a regular season MVP. He's redefining the quarterback position while others are still trying to get through Wild Card Weekend. But sure, South Beach Fantasyland says otherwise. What we're witnessing isn't just trash talk. It's a textbook case of emotional overcompensation. This receiver left greatness in Kansas City, and now he's trying to convince the world and himself that he somehow upgraded. And it's like walking away from the Patriots during their dynasty and claiming the Jets are the next Super Bowl favorites, let's be honest. This exposes a deeper flaw in the mindset of certain players today. There's a vast difference between bold belief and blinding delusion, between speaking like a champ and proving you're one. The Chiefs didn't become a dynasty on accident. They didn't trip into greatness. This was a masterclass in long-term vision, built by a front office that knows how to construct a roster, coached by a legend who's been orchestrating elite football for decades. Andy Reid, he's not guessing, he's executing with precision drawn from decades of gridiron genius. And Patrick Mahomes, he's not just a quarterback, he's a phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation talent with nerves of steel and vision that cuts through defenses like a surgeon's blade. When the stakes are sky high, Mahomes rises. He's ice cold under pressure, and he thrives where others crumble. Let's not forget Travis Kelce either, the most consistent and lethal tight end in the game. Mr. Reliable, a walking mismatch, the heartbeat of the offense. For years, this man has been Patrick Mahomes' ultimate safety valve, a clutch playmaker in the tensest moments, a leader in the locker room, and the embodiment of everything a championship-caliber team demands. He's not just another player in pads, he's a tone setter, a culture carrier, a true chief through and through. From top to bottom, the Kansas City Chiefs organization understands the formula for greatness. From the front office orchestrating savvy personnel moves to the coaching staff dissecting weaknesses and crafting elite game plans, everything they do is singularly focused on one outcome: raising Lombardi Trophy. That's why they've dominated, that's why they will continue to dominate, but down in Miami, they're living in an alternate universe. They're shouting about taking the AFC when they can't even consistently conquer their own division. They're crowning their quarterback as the best in the league, while the man has spent more time in the blue medical tent than the red zone. It's like watching someone claim they're about to summit Mount Everest when they're still struggling to catch their breath on the stairs. Sure, the Dolphins have had their flashes. They've fielded electric players and flirted with relevance, but moments of excitement are not the same as building a dynasty. Playoff football isn't won on microphones or social media. It's earned under stadium lights when the pressure is suffocating and the margin for error is zero. This wide receiver, now comfortably lounging in South Beach, recently spoke about how emotional it would be to face his old team in the AFC title game. But here's the reality check. Before you can fantasize about conference championships, you have to make the playoffs. Before you dream of title contention, you have to win a single playoff game, something Miami hasn't done since the year 2000. Mahomes may still be in his prime, statistically speaking. But the NFL doesn't ask for permission before the decline begins. It comes swiftly. Injuries, reduced mobility, mental fatigue, and the relentless weight of carrying a kingdom on your shoulders. So the question isn't if the decline comes, it's whether he can win enough rings before it does. The strategic evolution of the Chiefs' offense will be pivotal. Right now, their dominance is fueled by Mahomes' uncanny improvisation, arm strength, and football IQ. But as age and wear inevitably take their toll, the system must adapt. That's not a death sentence, it's a transformation. Many elite quarterbacks have transitioned into more efficient pocket passers, but it requires organizational foresight, coaching innovation, and buy-in at every level. Meanwhile, the AFC landscape isn't waiting for Kansas City to catch up. The Bills with Josh Allen, the Bengals with Joe Burrow, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. These are fully armed contenders, carefully constructed around their QBs and optimized to expose every flaw in the Chiefs' blueprint. Even the recent Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles offered a preview of what's to come. Mahomes performed brilliantly, but depth issues and superior tactical adjustments from the Eagles exposed cracks in the armor. Cracks that will only widen as cap pressures intensify. This is a huge positive, indicating there's no behind-the-scenes drama or tension. Smith's presence is a clear sign he wants to remain in Kansas City long-term and is committed to preparing for the 2025 NFL season alongside his brothers in the trenches. Financially, skipping camp could have cost him around $100,000, 0 cents in fines. Pocket change when compared to a potential $22, 0 cents plus million per year contract. Still, his attendance speaks volumes about his character and priorities. According to Pete Sweeney of Arrowhead Pride, while there's no certainty a deal gets finalized this week, both parties seem motivated to find a resolution. That's promising. Let's hope it gets done. Bottom line, Smith is leading with his actions. No theatrics, just focus, and that deserves respect. Pay the man. Next, Chris Jones, the self-proclaimed CEO of Sack Nation, Also spoke with the media today and praised Trey's presence, acknowledging how much energy he brings to the offensive line room. He even joked that he's glad Smith isn't going about his contract situation the same way he did last year, drawing laughs from reporters. For those who recall, Jones held out of training camp, skipped week 1, and watched from the stands as the Chiefs lost to the Lions. That holdout ultimately netted him a restructured one-year deal with incentives, but not the massive extension he wanted at the time. That all changed after the season, of course, when Jones signed a record-setting deal to become the NFL's highest-paid defensive tackle. Hopefully Trey Smith follows in those footsteps, minus the holdout. Jones also shared that his commitment to OTAs and minicamp this offseason stems from the sting of that Super Bowl defeat. It wasn't just the loss itself, but the way it happened, standing atop the mountain only to fall short. Now, he's more motivated than ever to help lead the charge back to the top. With the team reaching 3 straight Super Bowls and winning 2, this loss reignited their fire. Chris is especially excited about the defensive line's versatility this season. Many of their guys, himself included, along with Charles Omenu and Mike Dana, can line up both inside and out. That kind of flexibility is invaluable. He also praised rookie DT Omar, Norman Lott, calling him an athletic guy who will be ready to roll once training camp is over. No more baby fat, in CJ's words. Notably, Norman Lott is the only Chiefs draft pick who has yet to sign his rookie deal. But don't panic, the delay is largely due to a new precedent. 2 other second-round picks received fully guaranteed contracts. A first in league history. Norman Lott was selected later in the round, so it's unlikely he receives the same, and since he's actively practicing and participating, his unsigned status isn't a concern. Chris also took a moment to recognize second-year lineman Kingsley Suamataia, expected to start at left guard. According to Jones, Kingsley is progressing well, adjusting to the interior position after transitioning from tackle, as a big development for the offensive line's future. Speaking of linemen, newly signed defensive tackle Jerry Tillery, formerly of the Chargers, shared his excitement about teaming up with Chris Jones instead of facing him. He said having CJ command double teams allows others to play freely, and he's soaking up all the knowledge he can from the All-Pro veteran. Tillery praised the Chiefs' high standards, competitive practices, and championship mindset, saying that's why he's here, to contribute to a winning culture. On the topic of standout performers, rookie third-round corner Nicario Nick Williams had another impressive play today, securing an interception during team drills. Linebacker Brandon George, an undrafted free agent with an elite relative athletic score of 9.98, also notched a pick, showing that raw athleticism and instincts are translating well on the field. From top-tier veterans to rising rookies, the Chiefs' minicamp is already proving to be a blend of business, intensity, and hunger for another title run. During today's team drills, both Noel Williams and Brandon George hauled in interceptions, continuing their impressive offseason momentum. Safety Chamery Connor added to the defensive highlight reel with a superb pass breakup. However, it wasn't all defense dominating. Cornerback Christian Fulton was in tight coverage on Justin Ross, but Ross elevated and high-pointed the ball over him for a spectacular grab. Similarly, wideout Jason Brownlee made a contested catch over safety Brian Cook, showcasing the offensive playmaker's ability to win reps. And this, right here, is only the beginning of what may become the most explosive conversation in modern Chiefs history. So now it's your turn. Drop your honest take in the comments below. How many rings will Mahomes win before it's over? Smash that like button if this breakdown gave you a new lens on the Chiefs' future. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're delivering the raw, unfiltered truth that mainstream media won't touch. Your support fuels our mission to keep Chiefs Kingdom informed, inspired, and ready for whatever comes next.